Hey, how are you? I think I'm live. I think it's working. I think it's working so far. So hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Dr. Dave. Doing a live stream this evening, all about microdosing. I'm gonna be answering all of your questions, as many as I can. I'm not an absolute expert. I'm just a regular guy, and I've been microdosing for my health for over a year right now. And I'm going to be sharing anything you want to know. You can ask me anything. The only thing we don't talk about is where to source, like how to get it. You just have to do that on your own. I don't really want to go there on my channel here, but let's start off with a little bit of positive energy here. This is a Tibetan singing bowl. I'm just going to hit it at a time like that, and I'm going to we're not going to go around. We're going to just got a lot to talk about tonight, a lot to share. Thanks so much for being here. Feel free to the comments, if I'm pointing in the right direction, the comments are over here. So feel free to introduce yourself, say hello, ask questions in the comments section. One of the most commonly asked questions that I get is, will microdosing magic mushrooms work for me? Or another variant of this question is, I've got depression and anxiety. I'm on SSRIs. I want to get off the SSRIs. I want to get off the antidepressants. Will microdosing or would magic mushrooms work for me? So we're going to get all that taken care of. We're going to answer everything. Mark Kern, how are you doing, my friend? Great to see you here. You're the first person that actually introduced themselves. Really happy to see you here from the other side of the world. I want to start off just with as we're waiting for people to come in. I really like to start totally on time, but some people straggle in, so it's totally fine. And by the way, a lot of people watch the replay as well. A lot of people just don't want to be on live, but they watch the replay. The good thing about being on live is that you get to interact with me and anybody else on here and ask questions and give feedback. So I think it's a really cool thing to do. I want to share something with you that I just thought about really a short time ago, but one of the great, how can I phrase this? One of the great benefits, or one of the great results I've gotten so far from microdosing magic mushrooms is, so I used to speak in the dental profession. I'm a dentist by profession. I used to speak in the dental profession all over North America. I've spoken in practically every state every state in the US, and then a bunch in Canada, for decades. I had like a large dental conference that my brother and I produced. And suffice to say, there was a point in time in my business, and I don't have stage fright, but there was a point in time in my business that I started feeling too much energy from speaking. And I guess the best way to say it is I felt like revved up all the time. Like when I was on stage, and then for hours and hours and hours after getting off stage, I felt like just revved up and anxious. And it's not a feeling that you want to have. So I actually quit my business about 2 years ago. It really wasn't working for me. And it was a business that I had worked with my brother for decades. We're very well known in the dental profession. And and he still does it, but I just told him I couldn't do it anymore. Now, the interesting thing is, though, and also even doing something like this, or a podcast, or a webinar, or even speaking to some friends socially would get me revved up. And what I noticed, though, since I've been microdosing magic mushrooms, I no longer have that revved up feeling in social situations or in public speaking, even though I haven't really done much public speaking other than this type of thing. And I would have been totally revved up with it. I would have had like a weird feeling. Right now, guess what? I'm totally relaxed. It doesn't affect me at all. I owe it to the microdosing. It just kind of, or my good friend Trip, I think, is going to be here. He talks more about the threshold doses and the larger doses of magic mushrooms. But I'm pretty much using only microdoses and doses up to 2 grams as of right now. I'm going to go larger, but I don't really feel the absolute need to, because it's worked so well for me. So well, it's reset my brain and changed my life. And I don't have that weird revved up anxious feeling anymore. So I wanted to share that with you, and I'll be taking questions from you because so many of you have been messaging me about, well, will it work for me? I'm on antidepressants. Will it work? My answer is yes, it should work. When I first started microdosing, I was on 20 milligrams of Lexapro every day. That's about the highest dose a doctor could really prescribe. If you go over 20 milligrams, I mean, it's not recommended at all. Some people do, but it's not recommended. 20 milligrams is the max. I have weaned myself down to 2.5 milligrams a day. Now, going from 20 to 2.5 is almost nothing. And within a couple weeks, I'm going to be totally off of the Lexapro. But yes, I have been microdosing with Lexapro, starting at a large dose of Lexapro and going way, way, way down. I don't think it's, in my mind, by the way, it's not dangerous. And I want to share something with you right at the beginning. So I'm going to say something and I want you to fill in the blank. If you're there, hey, Mark, Ace, Nicole, Turkey Vulture, thanks so much for being here. A lot of you are too shy to comment, but that's totally fine. It's totally fine. I want you to fill in the blank. Okay, ready? Get ready on the keyboard or on your phone, whatever you're on. Okay, I'm going to say, this is not medical advice. It is blank. Who's going to fill that in first? I say it on almost every video. Hey, CPH, what's going on? What's going on there? This is not medical advice. This is blank. Who's going to say it? Come on, come on. There you go. Nicole got it. Nicole, this is not medical advice. It's friend talking to friend. And we are all friends. We're all friends here. I love you. Even if I don't know you personally, I do love you. I swear. I just have a really good feeling about all you guys. So I wanted to also, a couple of real quick things that I teased in the teaser video about this. Couple of real quick things. My birthday is Friday. As we're speaking, it's Wednesday. So my birthday is Friday, May 6th. Hold the presents and you don't have to send me presents or cards, but I'm going to be doing something on my birthday that I've never done in my entire life. But I'm doing it for the first time on Friday, and that is skiing. We're going up to Snowbird Mountain Resort. It's about 25 minutes from where I live here, and it's still open for skiing. I'm here in Salt Lake City, Utah, and we've had a pretty good spring amount of snow here, and Snowbird is going to be open until probably into June. So I'm going to be skiing on my birthday, May 6th. Yeah, first time in my life. It's going to be so cool. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much, Nicole. Hi, Tanya. How are you doing? Welcome. And Lee from the UK. Welcome. Carol Melvin is here. I appreciate you. Thanks so much. Something else I wanted to share, because I want to make sure I check off all my little things here that I promised to tell you about. Then we'll start taking questions in a second. Let's see. Let's see what talked about the birthday. Okay, I want to talk about in a little bit. I want to talk about a museum dose, because actually I took a museum dose this morning. Well, I'll talk about it right now. I'll talk about museum dose right now. David Ramirez, great to see you here too. I appreciate you. I really do. So Lee, yeah, hold off on the questions for a second. Charles, how you doing there? Hold off on the questions. But Lee Eagles, I have questions. CBD and mushrooms together is okay or not? I'll give you a real quick answer to that. Yes, it is totally okay. CBD, actually, mushrooms will enhance the effect of CBD. I did a whole video on that, so check back in my library if you want. But yes, they're safe to use together. A museum dose. I'm going to just give my own definition of a museum dose. Because there are all kind of charts out there that say like a museum dose is only from this to this. A museum dose is a larger dose than a microdose where you feel it, but you can still totally function. So typically a museum dose, like 500 milligrams, 1 gram, somewhere in that range, 1.125 grams, 1.5, somewhere around there. Because everybody's different. So everybody reacts differently to different dosage. So a museum dose is, let's just say it's more than a micro, and you can feel it. So I took a museum dose this morning. And the reason I took a museum dose is no, it wasn't because I was going to a party or anything like that. No. I occasionally do a museum dose, maybe once a week or so these days, because I think it just works really well for me. That's how I can say it. It works really well. I'm still working on my, I'm using this medicine for my depression and anxiety, although that's gone. I don't feel that anymore, but I want to keep this medicine in my system because it reworks the brain. And every month, believe it or not, I feel better and better and better. I feel better now. It's May. I feel better than I did in April. I feel better than I did which I felt better in from March. Even though I felt great then, it's like still improving me. So why would I ever stop? So a museum dose, I felt like, how can I describe this? I felt a little dreamy, a little bit tired. Like I wouldn't want to take a museum dose and then go out and run 5 miles. When you take a museum dose, at least me, everybody's different, but take a museum dose, I kind of feel like just lying around and meditating and maybe doing some yoga, some stretching or things like that. But it's not, a museum dose is kind of in between. It's an in between type dose. So it's not a microdose. You shouldn't really feel it. And a macro, you definitely feel it. But the museum is somewhere in a weird in between way. That's kind of what it is. I'd say it's really good. Sometimes it's almost like you're in no man's land and you feel like, okay, I either want to be in a microdose or I want to be in a much larger dose. But this is weird because I just kind of feel like just a little bit dreamy, but it's not really taking me anywhere, if that makes sense. So that's a museum dose. I would recommend trying it. Again, I do them and I can totally function. I could go out if I wanted to. I could be in a conversation. Nobody would know except me. And again, I feel just a little bit spaced out, dreamy, no visuals and nothing like that. No real tripping, I'd say. Okay. Hey, Trip is here. So my good friend Trip is here. And I've done some videos with him. And if anybody has any questions about, so I'm not considering myself an expert because I've only been doing this for like 13 months or so, but I've got enough experience under my belt with microdosing that I think I can answer most questions. Trip, on the other hand, is really the expert at therapeutic dosing. He does not, and that means much larger doses. He does not mess around with microdosing, and not that I think he's against it. I just think he thinks, and everybody has their own feeling, and I really like the guy a lot. I've done a bunch of videos with him, and we'll do more. But Trip believes that you can knock out things like depression and anxieties and earlier life traumas, maybe past life, but earlier traumas that happened to you from growing up. He thinks that larger threshold doses and he's probably right. He could be right. Threshold doses are going to take care of that faster, better, more predictably. So if you have any questions for my good friend Trip, he's here. I wish one day we could do a live stream and you could actually have like half of the screen. Well, no, I give you probably like a quarter of the screen. I wouldn't give you a half. It's my show, but I'll give you a quarter of the screen. I hope that's good enough for you, Trip. Let me go back now, and I've got some more things I want to share with you, but let me go back and see if there are any questions from you all that need answering right now. Jai is here, and Jay or Jai. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. It's either Jay or Jai, I'm pretty sure, but feel free to correct me and tell me exactly how to pronounce your name from Texas. Great to see you. Ace is saying, can't wait for more videos with you and Trip. Yeah, Ace, we're gonna do it. Trip, if it's okay with Trip, we're definitely gonna do more because Trip helps a lot of people, especially in the realm of larger dosing. He's really good, knows his stuff. Millionaire Mom. Okay, Trip, I want a brain reset. I deal with depression and I definitely deal with trans. How much should I take for a beginner? So Jay, it's Jay. So I got it wrong. Jay. So I said it's either Jay or Jai. So it's Jay. Okay, sweet. Good, Jay. Good, great to have you. I will try not to mess that up in the future. Trip, if you want to go ahead and answer the question from Millionaire Mom about dealing with, she wants a brain reset and dealing with depression, feel free. And Chopwood. It's Trip. His handle is Chopwood. So feel free to feel free to have a little sub conversation there. That's totally fine with me. The more people we help, the better. And it doesn't matter if there's like some conversations going on in the background. And not only that, like I said, we've got a nice group of people here with us now, but a lot of people watch the replay. A lot watch the replay. So whatever we say is going to end up helping even more people. So feel free to ask your questions. Let me see. I said something that I was. So is anybody here going to dose their moms on Mother's Day? Or if there are any moms here, are you going to use magic mushrooms on Mother's Day? Mother's Day is coming up this Sunday. My mom is probably not going to be using magic mushrooms on Sunday. She probably won't be. My mom is like 87 or something like that, and she's in Maryland. And no, she might have a vodka martini or something, but she won't be dosing magic mushrooms. I guarantee that. And Cinco de Mayo is tomorrow. So maybe you've got your own little celebrations for Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de Mayo. Have a fair betha. Okay, so let's see. I also want to bring. Okay, so I do have a question. CPH Dave, do you foresee a time when you feel like you don't need to microdose or take mushrooms at all anymore? It's a great question. The answer is I don't know. Number one, I've got to tell you, I really enjoy taking mushrooms. I enjoy it. And one of the main reasons I enjoy it is it's totally changed my life. Totally. So I've got like respect and reverence, and I like them so much since they've helped me. I don't see a time when I just wouldn't be using them at all. Now maybe there's a time that would come that I wouldn't be using them frequently at all. I would just use like kind of like a booster dose or something like that, if there is such a thing. But it's a good question, and as of right now, I have no plans to stop. But it's possible. I feel so great now, and I'm still weaning off of the Lexapro, and I've got like just a tiny bit to go. I'm at 2.5 milligrams, which is like minuscule, but I still want to make sure after I totally get off the Lexapro that the mushrooms are still working for me with no need to use any pharmaceuticals whatsoever. Since I started magic mushrooms, I'm off my blood pressure medication. I'm off any benzos that I would take occasionally just to kind of stop my anxiety. So they've worked in an incredibly fantastic way for me. Let's see. How often do you purchase shrooms? I've purchased an ounce and I used all of them to make microdosing pills. I was curious if they lose potency if you buy a lot at one time. They ultimately will lose potency, but I think they'll last if you keep them in a dry, dark place. They should last for quite a while. When I say quite a while, I don't know. I've just can only go by what people have told me. Some people say months or over a year. So keep it in a dry, cool place, and I think you'll be a dry, cool, dark place, and I think you'll be fine. Don't put it in the freezer or the refrigerator because I think that will cause moisture, and you don't want mushrooms to get moist because then they'll go bad. But dry, cool, dark. Let's see. Nicole, my mom won't. I'm trying to convince her to start microdosing maybe one day. Nicole, I mean, if she needs it, if she needs, I mean, not everybody, it's not the kind of thing that I just say everybody should do. If you need it though, like I definitely did, I definitely needed the microdosing, then I would recommend it. Friend talking to friend. Let's see. So David says, do you think I should just be purchasing them fresh instead so I get the full effect? My answer, and I can let Trip add to this if he wants to too. I don't see any reason why you have to purchase them fresh. I think dried is totally fine. And I've never purchased fresh. I always purchase dry or dried or in capsules. I've got both. Case I'm just depending what I'm in the mood for, quite honestly. Let's see. Yeah, Trip agrees. Dried is totally fine. I see no reason why you need to purchase them fresh. I just don't see an advantage to that at all because you have to dry them out anyway. Okay, I want to talk to you about something now that's really interesting to me, cool, and I'm not sure how else to describe it. And I'd like Trip to listen to this because I don't have the answer to this, but it's something that I've started thinking about a lot since I've started microdosing magic mushrooms. So at least for over a year, and it's getting stronger and stronger now. And there's definitely something to do with the mushrooms that's getting my brain to think or reason about this. But it's about time. I think there's so much more to time than the human brain can even imagine. I'm not so sure that as we're living our lives, we're just like on a straight timeline. And like right now, it's what year is it? 2022. I mean, I think there are a lot of things, just from what I can figure out from the mushrooms, a lot of things going on at once. Like the future may have already happened in some way, but we feel we're right now in 2022 because that's where we all are right now. But we are, but we're not. I think we're also in different times, and I think a lot of it has to do with quantum physics that I don't really understand so well. But my point is, I've been trying to figure this out, and I don't think I can figure it out. But there's a lot more to time than we feel there is, and that we can even conceive. And it's nothing like we think. It's kind of like watching a movie that you think you know what's going on, but at the end, the whole thing turns around and there's a twist, and it's nothing like you thought. I think that's what time is. We may never find out, but when we pass, we may. I don't know the answer. I'm curious to see what Trip says. Trip says time is not what we perceive it as. When on mushrooms, time can stretch or contract or flow backwards. Right. But not only that, Trip, I think, though, that it's almost like, if this makes sense, everything is taking place at once. But we're only in this little zone right now, but we're also in other areas. But right now, since we're in this one zone of May 4th, 2022, we feel this is where time is, but we're also experiencing it in other places and other times right now. But since we're here right now, we can't talk about that. I'm not making sense, but in other words, there's a lot more to this than we can figure out. Ace says, I've been doing my own research and have been finding that individuals who maintain high HGH levels are significantly less likely to experience neurodegenerative illnesses. I don't know. It's very interesting. I'd like to look into it. I don't know the answer to that one. Ace, it's a great question. I will try to research that, and you can too, and we'll try to figure that one out. But that's less likely to experience neurodegenerative illnesses. I'd like to. It's interesting to find out what my HGH levels are. Anyway, that's an interesting one. Trip says this is true, but I'm not sure what I guess you might be referring to something I just said a few minutes ago. I'm not positive, or the HGH. I'm not sure what you're referring to. David Ramirez, do you believe in God? I guess you're asking me if I believe in God. My answer to that is it's too complex it's not a yes or no answer. Again, as with time, there's a lot going on in this whole, it's not even the universe, it's way past the universe. So the multiverse, whatever, there's a lot going on that we can't even begin to figure out. And it's not a yes or no question there, but I do believe there's some force that has control or does control everything, or forces. But it would be irresponsible for me to try to say I've got that figured out, because I don't. And guess what? Nobody else does either. So that's my best possible answer. There's a lot going on that we just don't know. And it also goes back to time as well. There's just so much going on. Okay, Lee, great question. How do I get rid of mushroom anxiety? I wanted to touch on this. This is actually in my notes, something I wanted to do. By the way, before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and light up I've got some incense burning here in case you saw smoke, I don't smoke at all. I've never smoked cigarette. I mean, I think I've had one cigarette in my entire life, one or maybe two. Ron Lipkowitz gave me a cigarette at summer camp one summer. And then as far as like cannabis, I'm just not a fan of smoking. So I usually I do edibles when I use cannabis. Almost I say 99.9% of the time I would do an edible and not smoke. But I want to light up a piece of incense here. It's really, really soothing, and it's Japanese. It's from Japan. My wife is Japanese. I'll introduce hers to you sometime. But it's one of the most wonderful scents, SCENTS scents that you can possibly smell. It's just so relaxing and soothing. And we both try to burn it here as much as in the house as much as possible. I'm gonna what I'll do, if you're interested, I'll put a link in the show notes at some point if I remember. Because unless you can read Japanese, you're probably not gonna know where to get this. So I'm pretty sure they're available on Amazon too. So I'll put in a link to what we use here, if you like. Also, if you want, I can also put a link to the type of singing bowl that we have a bunch of singing bowls here in the house, but I'll put a link to the one that I like. This is a real compact one. You can see how it just fits in the palm of my hand. Okay, so let me get back to the question by Lee. How do I get rid of mushroom anxiety? And I might want to have Tripp comment on this as well. A lot of people that I've seen on forums and asking me, for some reason, you have anxiety about taking mushrooms. I can understand that totally. So what happens is when you take magic mushrooms, they kind of like, they will magnify or emphasize what's going on in your brain. If you're worried about something, if you're concerned, if you got into a fight with a spouse, or you got fired from a job, or if you're anxious, it takes that and it magnifies it. So that's why people say when you're using mushrooms, set and setting are the two most important things. You can't go where you are. Usually at home is a really good place, or out in nature. So that's the setting, and your set is your mindset. And if you're going into it worried about what they're going to do to you, then you're going to probably have a bad trip or a bad time, bad experience. I've never had that, even though the largest I've taken is a 2-gram dose, and I'm not really worried if I have a larger dose if I'm going to be anxious, because I don't get anxious about them, because I know they're going to do what they're going to do. I'm going to be okay. Mushrooms, you can't overdo it. You can't overdose on them, especially if you're taking a microdose. Nothing bad's going to happen from a microdose. I'm sorry, it's just not. And if you take a larger dose, as far as I know, you just can't overdose on them. So the best thing to do, in my opinion, is to accept that you're eating this sacred medicine. Let it do what it's going to do. It's going to take you in different directions possibly, but it's not going to harm you. It won't harm you. And if you're anxious about it, yeah, you're going to have a bad time. So the best advice, and it's easy for me to, it's like the guy going into the psychiatrist saying, I'm sad, I'm depressed. And the psychiatrist says, well, don't be sad. I mean, I've heard that. It's actually happened. Just don't be sad. What's wrong? Don't be sad. Go out and have fun. It's more complex than that. You just can't tell somebody that's sad or depressed not to be sad or not to be depressed. Just like you can't tell somebody that's anxious, stop being anxious. Stop it. It doesn't work like that. Our brains don't work like that. So the best I can say, and I think this came from, who did this come from? This came from, did it come from Ace or Lee? It came from Lee, sorry. Lee, be in a good mindset, be in a wonderful setting, be at home on your sofa with some very peaceful music, and just sit back and let them do the thing and relax. And I think you're going to be totally fine. But yeah, if you're anxious going into it, it's going to be rough. And anybody else that wants to comment on this can feel free to comment. I'm not an expert on the mushroom anxiety because I've never had it. So it's almost like I wish I did at some point, but I don't. I've never gotten anxious from them. And I read on the forums that some people that take a small microdose, they say their heart starts beating fast and they're real anxious. I think it's got to be a psychological thing as opposed to a physiological thing. I don't think that psilocybin in itself, by itself, gets your heartbeat, gives you like tachycardia, which is like a real fast heartbeat. Boom, 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 boom. I don't think it does that. I think it's your mindset that's doing that. And the mushrooms are exacerbating that, if that makes sense. Okay, that was a long answer. Thanks. That was a great question. Thanks for that. Do you ever think you'll do DMT? David says DMT or ayahuasca. My answer is I don't know. I would never say never. I don't know the answer, but possibly. Dave, have you experienced ego death? If so, has it changed your idea of self? And that's from CPH. I don't know if so here's the only 2 times that I may have experienced, like, if there's a such thing as like semi-ego death. I'll explain this because I've not taken a large enough dose of mushrooms to experience ego death. So, but here's what I've experienced, and I think it's pretty interesting. And again, I'd like feedback on this as well. And I've done a video about this as well too, I think. When I started using magic mushrooms, especially microdosing, I found that if I used cannabis on the same day, let's say that later that evening, or even into the next day or 2, I noticed that the cannabis is much stronger. And I use edibles only. It's like it acted as a psychedelic. I've been using cannabis for decades. I know what it feels like. I know what it does to me. I'm very experienced with cannabis, but since I started using magic mushrooms, the cannabis takes me on more of a psychedelic type trip. It's strange, but it's very enjoyable. It's really nice. So the reason I'm saying this is there are 2 instances that I took mushrooms, say a microdose or a very small dose in the morning, and that evening or the next day, the next evening. I usually do, if I do cannabis at all, I usually do it in the evenings. It's very relaxing for me. I experienced what I felt was a fairly heavy trip on cannabis, and I would just be laying down or sitting on my sofa with my eyes closed, listening to music. And there were some points where, it's going to sound weird, there's some points where I didn't know if I was alive or not. I wasn't scared because, first of all, if I wasn't alive, there's nothing to fear because that's the way I felt, at least at the time. I just felt like I didn't know what state I was in. And I don't mean Utah or I mean, I didn't know what physical state I was in. I didn't know what was going. And it was, like I said, it was very pleasant. It was really pleasant. It wasn't scary at all. And that happened twice, maybe 3 times, but definitely twice that I have strong memories of sitting there or laying there and not knowing if I was alive. That may be construed as ego death. I'm not sure. So if that is, then I've experienced it twice, but it's weird. It was not on a heavy dose of mushrooms. It was on a smaller dose of magic mushrooms and then cannabis later on. And that's what I experienced. And it was very nice, I would say. Very pleasant. So that was my answer to that. Let me catch up and see if people are talking. And so Trip says there are no bad trips. Okay, I think I know what you're saying, and I agree, because what it does, it brings out stuff that might be construed as bad, but it's actually showing you some trauma from the past. I think that's what Trip is probably saying. So I would agree with that. But some people take that as a bad trip. But I understand. Thanks for that, Trip. I appreciate that. Let me see. A lot of conversation going here. Good stuff. Trip is in conversing with a bunch of people. And Trip, I really appreciate your helping a lot of my people because I'm certainly, like I said, I'm certainly not the expert on threshold type doses. I'm just not. Millionaire moms. Trip says to Millionaire Mom, if you lived a life of hell, which I know Trip has given his whole history, and go back and watch some of my videos with Trip on the video with him. We were well, not really. It was a conversation we were having. It was not really like an interview. It was more of a great conversation. And Tripp told me about his childhood, about his growing up. And oh my God, it was really, really, let's just use the word really rough, really rough. So if Tripp could use this wonderful medicine to totally reverse how his brain was working and get rid of all the trauma and the PTSD. And Tripp said now that from using this medicine at threshold doses, nothing bothers him. Like nothing bothers him at all anymore. And that's a great place to be in your life. So Ace said, I noticed that too with cannabis. That's a story I just told about the microdosing or using mushrooms and then cannabis a little bit later. I took acid and then 2 hits of a joint and I thought I lost my marbles. I love that phrase, lost my marbles. Most intense closed eye visuals I ever had. So that confirms kind of what I said. I also had closed eye visuals at the same, when I described that story. I had closed eye visuals at the same time, and that's when I thought possibly I had something that was similar to ego death. And I'd like to see what Tripp says about that. Tripp, if you heard my story about the smaller dose of mushrooms than using cannabis later that day or the next day and feeling something that I felt was maybe ego death, I'd love to hear if you're familiar with that as well, because I was at a point where, like I said, I really didn't know if I was alive. But like I said, again, it was not scary at all. It was like laying in a state or sitting on the sofa or laying in a state of total nothingness, if that makes sense. Just totally nothing was going on in my brain or around me. It was actually, like I said, very, very pleasant. Okay, let's see. I know Tripp is helping a lot of people, which I really, really appreciate here. Any more questions? Okay. Let me go back. A really, really common question. In fact, somebody emailed me just yesterday. I'll paraphrase it because I get asked this question all the time. The question goes something like, I found that mushrooms increased visuals with DMT the next day. Okay, cool. I was wondering about cannabis too, though. Cannabis. Okay, typical question. I get asked this all the time. Dr. Dave, I've got bad depression. I'm on an antidepressant. I want to get off the antidepressant. Do you recommend mushrooms? Do you recommend microdosing? Do you recommend psilocybin? I'm either afraid to get off the antidepressant, or I've taken it upon myself to get off of it. So the question goes in many directions, but my answer is going to be yes, yes, yes. If it worked for me, and my situation was extremely similar, depression, anxiety, extreme anxiety. Sometimes what I never really had like a true panic attack where I thought I was going to die. And when you're having a panic attack, from what I understand, you feel like death is impending death. I didn't feel like that, but so I would call it anxiety attacks that I used to have. I had one right in the checkout line at Whole Foods, one of the most peaceful places on the planet, Whole Foods. And for some reason, I just had an anxiety attack, and I don't know how it came about. And it was extremely uncomfortable. Sometimes I had them while driving. It was terrible. But so yes, the microdosing magic mushrooms, when I was on the Lexapro, even at 20 milligrams, absolutely made a difference and helped me. Absolutely. And that's the exact reason I've been able to wean off of the Lexapro, it's an SSRI of the Lexapro, because it's an antidepressant, because the psilocybin has like taken over and is helping me where the Lexapro was helping me. I'm not against Lexapro. I think Lexapro is actually a very good pharmaceutical when used properly, when used at the right time, but it's not the kind of thing you want to be on for the rest of your life if you can help it. Again, this is not medical advice. Do not go back and tell your doctor that Dr. Dave said I shouldn't be on this forever. No, it's not. This is not medical advice. But again, given the choice of being on taking Lexapro every day for the rest of my life at a high dosage, 20 milligrams, or microdosing magic mushrooms when I need to, which choice am I going to take? Hello, duh. I'm going to get off the Lexapro. Like I said, I've got this much to go. This much, starting from this much, 20 milligrams to 2.5. I'm almost off. And I can't wait. I'm going to celebrate when I'm off, because it's an amazing journey I've had. So to answer your question, yes. I think in most cases, if you do it correctly, most cases, everybody's different, but in most cases, microdosing magic mushrooms, or as my good friend Tripp here says, using threshold doses, will almost definitely take care of your issues. Especially if your issues are PTSD, depression, anxiety. I dealt with, I want to tell you something. I dealt with insomnia too. Last night I had perhaps the best night's sleep I had in a long time. I actually slept, it was probably about 8 hours straight without having to go up and going to use the bathroom at all. That is so uncommon for me, but in other words, these mushrooms are helping me on so many levels. It's unbelievable. I mean, being my age, okay, my birthday's in 2 days. I'm turning 67. Did I say that? I'm turning 67 in 2 days. Where did the time go? This is fucking ridiculous. How do we get old so fast? This is fucked up. 67 in 2 days. At age 67, being able to sleep through the entire night without having to get up and pee, it's a miracle. They've really helped me a lot. They've really helped me a lot. Let me catch up here. What am I missing? Somebody's asking, what's your email? I don't know if that's aimed at me or not. But I'll give you my email in case anybody wants to email me too. My email is simply rundrdave@gmail.com. And it's spelled like this. Because Run Dr. Dave is not spelled exactly the way you think. So I don't know if this is backwards. Oh, is it backwards? Anyway, it's Run DRDAVE, rundrdave@gmail.com. I try to answer as much as I can. Unfortunately, I hope I can't go into long dissertations via email. It's impossible for me, but I will most likely try to acknowledge and answer everything I can. So as long as you guys don't abuse it, don't think that I'm going to be able to give you like long consultations via email. It can't be done. But I got too much going on. But I will do my best to help you. Let's see. Thanks, Ace. I appreciate that. How do you pronounce your name? I don't know if it's C Junior or Seeger Mel, or maybe totally botched it, but Mel. I'll call you Mel. You know who you are. Congrats on almost weaning off the Lexapro. You're very well. It's just about done. And I feel better than I have during this entire 13-month journey on magic mushrooms. Better now than when I started, or even several months into it. And then my Lexapro was like about that much. Let me go back, Seizure Mel, and see if I can find your question, because sometimes they go by so quickly. I'm in the middle of like a rant and I can't, and I miss it. So let's see. I don't see your question for some reason, unless it's way up here. Can you ask it again? Because here we go. I think I see it. Microdosing can work no matter what religion you belong to. Is that correct? Catholic, Christian, Western, Eastern beliefs. Okay. Absolutely. Microdosing has nothing to do with what religion you are or what you believe in. That's my opinion. I don't think anybody is an expert enough to say that it only works with certain religions or certain beliefs. That's crazy. This is plant medicine, and the plant medicine, I don't believe, prejudges you based on what you believe about religion, God, spirituality, the universe. I just don't think these wonderful mushrooms will judge you in any way. They will do their work no matter if you're religious, not religious, what religion you are, if you're a good person, bad person, if you're an a-hole, hopefully they'll turn a-holes into really good people. That would be, we need to dose, we need to give Putin like mega doses. If we gave Putin mega doses of mushrooms, I believe that the world would be a better place. You notice I'm not saying we need to kill him. I'm saying we need to make him into a better person. We need to make him into a peaceful person, and maybe threshold doses of mushrooms would help cure him. And President Xi over in China, it'll just help everybody. I think let's dose Biden. Maybe it'll improve his cognitive function. Maybe it'll help everybody in the world. That's my goal. Help everybody in the world, right? Let's see where we are. Let's try my way. Something said. Some people are saying something's not showing up. So people are asking Trip for his email. The way you can contact Trip, in case he hasn't said so yet, the way you can contact Trip's a good friend of mine who is way more experienced in the threshold dose realm of magic mushrooms, especially from what he went through in childhood. To contact with Trip, and he's got a great YouTube channel. Just go to Chop Wood, Carry Water, Practical Spirituality. It's his handle here on YouTube. So if you just click on him, you're going to go to his channel. Subscribe to his channel. He does wonderful videos. Trip doesn't charge people, at least from what I believe is true, does not charge people for what he does. He loves helping people, and he'll help you if he thinks he can. And because he's been through so much, I think he just wants to kind of give back. If any of that is wrong or has changed, I apologize. So that's what so you can find Trip on Chop Wood, Carry Water, Practical Spirituality on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. The three that I know he's on. So if you look for that name, you will find him, and I'm sure you'll be able to message him that way for sure. Trip, you said Dave in big capital letters, but I'm not sure what you mean by that. Oh, okay. Trip is trying to get his email up here, but again, if you can't get it by email, just message him on Facebook, and then you can eventually get to his email that way. Chop Wood, Carry Water, Practical Spirituality. Okay, we are approaching an hour. We're about 47 minutes into this, and I always I don't want to keep you guys too long. I really appreciate everybody being here. I'm here to answer any more questions from now until the time we finish. If you have a simple question for me, I like how Gmail, M-A-L-E. I guess that'll get past the algorithms. That'll get, because that's funny. Gmail. I'm a Gmail. Let's see. Do I have anything else for you? Let me check my notes to see if there's anything that I didn't touch on. We talked about museum dose. Let me talk about, just for a second, future live streams. I think these work out great, especially when I can get other so-called experts, because like I said, I don't claim to know everything. I'm just a regular guy. I'm a doctor, but you know something? I'm a retired dentist. In dental school, we did not learn anything about magic mushrooms. So I'm not even a medical doctor, although I know a lot about medicine because I've actually had to do things myself. I've taught myself a tremendous amount about sleep apnea, blood pressure, things like that, just because there's nobody that's going to care for me the way I can care for myself. I do believe in doctors. I have really good doctors, but in the bottom line is I want to read up and learn everything I can about my sleep apnea, about when I had high blood pressure, depression, anxiety. I wanted to do all that reading myself. So I do know a lot, but I don't know. I'm not an expert. I'm probably not an expert in anything. I'm just a regular guy that knows enough to help myself and other people. And I think that's a good place to be. I love helping people. That's what I like to do. That's why I'm doing this. So where I was going with this is I plan to do more live streams, probably once every couple weeks, maybe 2 or 3 a month, something like that. Trip says he's going to start doing live streams on his channel, so make sure you look out for him doing them. Let's see. Do antacids interfere? Deb Collins is asked, do antacids interfere with microdosing? Please. I don't know the answer to that. It's a great question. I've heard yes and I've heard no. I am not a big antacid user, but I do use them sometimes if I feel the need. And I can only speak from my experience is that they did not seem to have any effect on my microdosing at all. But again, a microdose is subperceptual, so sometimes you don't really know. But I never had what I thought was a bad effect or reaction or something that didn't let the mushrooms do their thing. I did not. Let's see what else. Did everybody hit the like? Oh, thank you, Millionaire Mom. Did everybody hit the like button before you leave here this evening? Hit the like button. It does help the channel. It really does. So, Millionaire Mom, thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, make sure you hit subscribe and enable notifications. That way, when I come on live in the future, or even when I put up a new video, which I try to do at least 1 or 2 a week these days, one to 3 a week, you'll get notification. You'll be amongst the first to be able to view them, and you won't forget about them. Chris from Colorado, I'm glad you remembered to stop in. Thank you so much. We're almost winding down, but you can also watch the replay. That's going to be available as in perpetuity, or as evergreen, as they say. You can watch the replay of the live. But it's always best to be on the live because, again, we're so many people are helping so many people here. I love it. I love the fact that we have Trip here and he's helping people with questions that I might not even be seeing or that I don't feel experienced enough in the larger dose realm to help people with. So it's really cool to have all of this energy and other people that can help as well. Thanks, Ace. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Millionaire Mom is subscribing to Trip. I'm sure Millionaire Mom is subscribed to me. I'm pretty sure she is. And Millionaire Mom, happy Mother's Day on Sunday. Dave, no. Trip, I'm not sure. I'm sorry. When I go on to so many subjects. Trip, when you say no, I'm not sure what the no means. So if you could just spell that out a little bit. No what? Because I've been on, since you probably typed that, I've probably been on 5 or 6 topics. So I don't even remember. I don't know what the no could be for. So sorry about that, Trip. Expand a little bit, please. Expand your mind. Let me ask you something real quick. What's your favorite music to listen to when you're using magic mushrooms? Your favorite music that just talks to you, that makes you feel like you're in the right place. Tell me what your favorite music is. I'd love to know. I'd really love to know. Oh yeah, Millionaire Mom. You said last week that you watched all my videos. Millionaire Mom, thank you so much. You get this. I'm going to give you this. This is for Millionaire Mom. That's so cool. She's watched every video. She has to get a little tap of the singing bowl for sure. No question about that. What was I saying? I can't remember now. I don't remember. And Trip, I'm still not sure what the no was. Oh yeah, I asked what are your favorite songs, your favorite music when using mushrooms? Nicole says Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin I love Led Zeppelin. In fact, I'm finally getting into physical graffiti after all these years. I mean, I loved the earlier Led Zeppelin, but my mission has been over the past couple months to really get into and understand physical graffiti, which I am, and I really do like it a lot. Listen to jazz on my first time. That's real. I think jazz would work very well. Jazz would work very, very well. Sgt. Pepper by the Beatles. When you listen to that, if you're using mushrooms, you will understand that music was written to listen to on mushrooms. Same thing with Pink Floyd, mostly Dark Side of the Moon, but all Pink Floyd. And the Rolling Stones, what is it called? Their Satanic Majesty's Request. Is that? No. Is that? Yeah, their Satanic Majesty's Request. That is, it just goes along with mushrooms. Some people like Tripp would probably tell you if you're using larger doses, just to, I think he would say to be in mostly a dark room, maybe not listening to anything, just laying down and totally dark and let the mushrooms do what they do. And that's probably fantastic advice also. Let's see. Jay says she listens to frequencies. Just let them play or jazz. I love that too. Love that one, Jay. Frequencies are really cool to listen to. Haven't done that for a little while, but very, very good. But Nicole, not just any Rolling Stones. There's Satanic Majesty's request. Let me show you. I'm gonna stay here. Don't go anywhere. I'm gonna leave the screen for a second. Talk to my yourselves, but I want to show you this album cover, and you'll understand why. 1 second. Don't go anywhere, guys. Hang on. Don't go anywhere. Oh, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is that album cover? I can't find it now. I can't find it in my stack of in my whole thing. It's not sorted correctly, and I don't want to waste your time looking through all my albums. But take my word for it. It's made for tripping. There's Satanic Majesty's request. That's the one. It's got like She's a Rainbow one, that one. Yeah, I think so. Ravi Shankar. Oh, I just listened to a little bit of him a little while ago, a few days ago. I listened to him when he did the opening act at the concert for Bangladesh. He was amazing. So that's a great one. Thanks so much, Tiger. Appreciate that. But threshold doses being outside is fine too. Okay, cool. I still don't know what Tripp was saying no to. I have no idea. Hey, Dave, have you tried the Stammet Stack? I have not actually. At least I haven't really done it intentionally. Although I do use, I do use lion's mane. I use lion's mane every day. So that's kind of like, that means if I took 0.5 grams of mushrooms, lion's mane, which is also a mushroom, but not a psychedelic mushroom, and then niacin, that would mean that, is it niacin? Let's see, vitamin B3, but vitamin B3, that would be kind of like a Stammet Stack. But so the short answer to my long-winded answer is not officially. I've not done that. I should try it though. Should try. Alex, have I done a macro yet? I have not done a real macro. No, as I said kind of earlier in the show here, the largest dose I've done has been at one time has been a little bit over 2 grams. Certainly not considered a macro. Certainly not considered a micro. It's kind of in the museum plus range, whatever you want to call it. A larger dose, but certainly not a macro dose. I definitely enjoyed it. I talked a little bit about that, about the feeling of a museum dose earlier in the broadcast, in the live stream. So, so for the sake of not having to repeat that whole thing, go back and check that. I described pretty in pretty much detail what a museum dose, at least to me, because everybody's different, what a museum dose actually feels like. So feel free to go back and check that. Let's see. What else? Any more questions? And I do appreciate the little sub questions going on in the chat board here, it's great. It's really cool that like I can be talking and then people could be asking questions and other people such as Tripp and other people answer other people's questions. I love it. This is exactly the kind of community that I'm trying to form here, because let's face it, 13 months ago, I knew zero about psilocybin. Oh no, I didn't know zero. I knew like in my high school class, a bunch of the freaks tripped all the time on psilocybin or acid. That's about all I did. I just didn't know all that much. But now, 13 months later from my first microdose, it is like a game changer. So I'm happy to help you with my experiences. But again, admittedly, my experiences are not like other people that are much more experienced in microdosing and macro or threshold type dosing. I'm not as experienced on the higher dose realm, but one day maybe I will be. What different types of magic mushrooms have I tried? What is your favorite? I've got I don't really know, because sometimes when I get them, I'm not, admittedly, and this is probably stupid on my end, but I'm not even sure exactly what strain it is. I just typically what I get in my microdosing capsules is it's a very typical cubensis strain that is, and that's probably what it is. It's not penis envy or anything real strong, but I do have some albino penis envy mushrooms sitting around that I got to figure out what to do with them. Trip would probably tell me to take them, eat them in the right time, of course. Probably, I mean, because what else am I going to? I'm not going to put them on a pizza unless I want to trip after I eat the pizza. So that was my answer to that, Greg. Dr. Dave, I have to get my son. It's been fun live. Nicole, again, Nicole, I'm going to get Nicole, you get this because you're on every video I do, and you always comment. So thanks, Nicole. Go get your son. Enjoy time with your son. And I really appreciate you. And of course, I appreciate every single one of you, not just Nicole. Every single one of you means a lot to me. Even if we've never met or never conversed or never chatted, you mean a lot to me, because just being here, wanting to learn, and choosing me to help guide you and teach you. Remember, it's not medical advice. It's just friend talking to friend, and you are definitely a friend for sure. So Seizure, and I'm sorry, I'm botching your pronunciation, Seizure Mel, what does lion's mane do to add to microdosing magic mushrooms? I'm not sure what it does to add to the effect, but I know lion's mane, even in itself, helps with cognitive function. So they say that if you use lion's mane, which again is a mushroom, but it's a non-psychedelic mushroom, it does something positive to the brain, like psilocybin does, but it may be a totally different. It's obviously a different chemical. It's not psychedelic, but somehow it also helps to rewire your brain. I've talked to people that have said, yeah, they noticed better cognitive function after using lion's mane mushrooms. I've been using them for maybe 6 to 8 months now. I don't notice. It's not like the kind of thing that's, oh, I feel more cognitive function. I feel better. I can't really tell, although I can tell you, I feel like I can, my brain, how can I say this? It's in good shape. I think really well. I can solve problems. I can do a lot of stuff. I'm not saying better. I don't know, but the lion's mane could be affecting me positively. I'm not positive. It's not the kind of thing you can feel and say, oh, I definitely feel smarter today. It's not really that, but I do believe it can help with cognitive function from everything I've read about it. Trip, I feel clarity. That's probably a good way to say it, because, okay, Trip, thank you for that, because it circles back to the beginning of this video when I started to say that I was getting non-clarity. I was having problems doing something like this, a podcast, a video chat, speaking on stage to a live audience. I was having real problems. And from the microdosing, it somehow has rewired my brain that I definitely feel more clarity for sure, but not only more clarity, but my brain doesn't get revved up the way it used to from speaking. Like we're like over an hour into this, and if I would have done this type of video live stream, like let's say 1.5 years to 2 years ago, I'd be here doing it, but I wouldn't be relaxed. I'd be anxious, and but now after having used the magic mushrooms for 13 months, I feel like my anxiety level doing it is zero. It's as low as it can get. I attribute that for sure to the magic mushrooms for sure. Let's see. What do we, let's see. Thanks for doing these. Thanks for doing, okay, Neil, thanks for doing these videos. I just found them and I've been doing this for over a year. Cool, Neil. I've really enjoyed the content and the open honesty. Neil, I hope that, so you've been doing it for over a year. So just about like me, I've been a little over a year now, a year and a month, 13 months, something like that. It sounds to me, that helped you. It's been helping you just similar to me. So congratulations. And I'm glad you found us and stick with us, subscribe and make sure you watch all the videos and come to the live streams because these live streams are so valuable. So, so an hour and 5 minutes into this, I've got more people on now than I had like at the beginning and even halfway in. We got more people now that have joined us. So this is really great. I really, really appreciate you guys. I'm going to give you a, where did that thing go? Where did that? Oh, here it is. I'm going to give you a gong, not a bong hit, a gong hit. It's not really a gong though. It's a Tibetan singing bowl. Have you taken up mycology as a hobby? Not really. I haven't. I think mushrooms are fungi are like super, super, super interesting. And I hope to learn more and more and more about them. I took a walk just 2 or 3 days ago. I was meeting a friend for lunch and I took a walk to meet him. And excuse me, I have to clear my throat. Excuse me. This is live. If I record a video for you guys and I have to clear my throat, that gets edited out. But here I can't edit a cough out. I don't know how I can't stop it. So it's okay. I can't remember what we were saying. So sorry about that. I don't remember. Appreciate these conversations. I grew up and was taught these were bad. Jay is saying this. It has been a very spiritual experience, and I am grateful that people like Doc are open about it. Jay, and I am appreciative of you being with us. So thank you very much for that. Greatly, greatly appreciate it. So Millionaire Mom. Okay, so we have 20 friends in the chat. Dan needs 20 likes. Am I Dan for some reason? Somehow, I don't know. People call me Dan. Now, I don't know if I have a speech impediment. If I say I'm Dr. Dave, it sounds like blah, blah, blah. But my name is David. You can call me Dave, David. You don't have to call me Dr. Dave. It's kind of like, and I'm not one of these guys who is big on being a doctor. I don't think doctors are better than anybody. It's kind of just become my nickname a little bit, Dr. Dave. It's not a bragging type of thing. It's not like I'm higher than you. It's nothing like that. Just Dr. Dave's been like a fun nickname. But Millionaire Mom, again, I'm not sure why you call me Dan, but it's not just you. This is what I'm trying to figure out. A lot of people call me Dan. Like somebody the other night live, I saw this person live in real life call me Dan, and I'm thinking like, what is it with? Should I just change my name to Dan? I don't know. I don't know why people are doing it. I'm not really sure. Super Guru Dave. Well, no, I do have a true nickname that somebody just gave me within the past 6 months, and I love it. You want to know what it is? You can start calling me this. This nickname this friend of mine gave me is David Magic, and I'll tell you why she calls me David Magic. Because in the past, I still do a little bit, but I've done a bunch of really cool little mentalism things that I love. I love doing mentalism and some card tricks. But they're mostly mentalism type card tricks that I can, read people's minds. And I've had a lot of fun with it. And whenever I show her like a new thing and I read her mind, she calls me David Magic now. So that's why even my email signature, I think one of my emails actually says David Magic. So it's kind of funny. So feel free to call me David Magic. It's okay. It's all good. BK, so I'm assuming you are retired. I am. So I'm a retired dentist. I have not practiced dentistry in many years. I went on from dentistry to start another business within dentistry. So what I did with my brother, who's also a dentist, we became public speakers in dentistry, coaches. We've helped dentists all over North America. We produced dental seminars, all kinds of things. I am now retired from that as well. I still own half of the business, but I'm not active in it. My brother just runs the thing and does everything. And sometimes maybe sends me a dollar bill or something. That's about it. We have a great relationship, and he's still enjoying it. It got to the point where I knew for me enough was enough. And when you're not enjoying something anymore on a daily basis, it's time to do something. And I think one of my last videos talked about this too. If you're in a relationship, in a job, in some type of situation where you're not enjoying it, you're not having fun, and you have to go on a vacation to get away from your spouse, significant other, work, job, boss, then something's not right, and you should try to fix that. I take my own advice. I fixed it. After several decades of running this business and really enjoying it. It just started getting old, and I was getting burnt out, and I had to take my own advice and distance myself from it. And I've never taken advice like that from myself, and regretted it. Sometimes it's difficult. My divorce from my first wife, it was really, really, really tough, but I knew, some part of me knew that it was going to be better for my life to not be with this woman any longer than I had already been. Enough was enough. And I got out of it. And it was difficult for a few years. It was very difficult. But then I met my present wife, who is like the best thing that's ever happened to me on this planet. And we're great together. We enjoy each other's company so much. And the only reason I found her is because I had the guts to get out of a bad marriage, a marriage that was ridiculously crazy, crazy. But I did it, and I'm happy, really happy about that. Oh, Dr. Dave, when you microdose, like I'm starting to, how many grams can I expect to use in a month? How many grams in a month if you microdose? Well, let's do a little bit of math here. It won't be a lot, because let's just use the average microdose. Is it fair to say the average microdose is 150 milligrams, 0.15 grams, average microdose, not large, not small. So 150 milligrams. And let's just use average. Let's say we're doing that four times a week and 4 weeks out of the month. So let's say that's going to be, what is that? Is that 4 times 4? So roughly 16 days out of the month. Let's even say 17 days out of the month. So 150 milligrams times 17 days. You're at 2.55 grams there. So let's say on average, 2 to 3 grams a month. I never thought of it like that, but it's a good question. I just order them when I feel I want them or need them. That's all. But 2 to 3 grams a month would be typical, how much you'd have to go through on a microdose. Typically. I'll tell you, I might be, this is really weird. I might be the only one in the world. I have no idea what's going on with Johnny Depp now. I know there's a trial. But if you ask me to even give you a hint of what's he in trial for, what's going on, what's the problem, I just have no idea. I couldn't even guess. I could not even begin to tell you what the problem is with Johnny Depp. I have no idea. So I guess some parts of the news I pay no attention to. That's all. Let's see. Stagman says 0.2. So yeah, 0.2 is a typical microdose. But from everybody I've spoken to, everybody that's microdosing, especially people that comment on my videos, it seems to me like most people are not doing 0.2. Most are probably more in the 100 to 150 milligram range. I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm just saying that's what seems like the average microdose is. The average microdose people are taking that I talk to are somewhere in the 100, 150 milligram range. Again, which if you know your metric system, you got to know metric system to do this. And 150 milligrams is how many grams? 150 milligrams. You just move the decimal place over three spaces. 150 milligrams is 0.15 gram. And 100 milligrams, which many people say that's their microdose, 100 milligrams, that would be 0.1 grams. Some people microdose at 50 milligrams or less, which is really small. And so 50 milligrams is 0.05 grams. It's not 0.5, it's 0.05. 50 milligrams is a tiny, tiny, tiny microdose. Oh, so he's okay. So Johnny, he's suing his ex-wife for defamation. Interesting. I couldn't get. I figured it was probably some type of social, social / marital / that type of thing. I figured, but I had no idea. Is he doing well? Is he going to win? I have no idea. No idea. Let's see. Should we contact Johnny Depp to get him some mushrooms? No. Get Putin on the mushrooms. I'm telling you, the world would be much less dangerous with Putin on the mushrooms, magic mushrooms, and get Biden on some lion's mane to get him to improve his cognitive function. And I think we'll all be in good shape if we can accomplish all that. Okay, guys, we're like an hour and 15. Does anybody have any last minute something to say quickly? His ex-wife is crazy. I wouldn't be surprised. I think a lot of people in Hollywood are I'm not saying he is or all, but I think a lot of people in Hollywood are just like fucking wackos. I think, but not all. Here's a good question. Donald Joyner. As mushrooms are said to be poisonous, where do the toxins get stored if too much? I don't know the answer to that. And I don't even know if psilocybin mushrooms are poisonous because I've never done this, but I've heard that you cannot overdose on psilocybin, which means the vehicle in which most people actually get psilocybin is from mushrooms. So that, to me, that means you can't overdose on psilocybin mushrooms. So I don't know. And I think Tripp is agreeing with me there that they're not toxic. They're not poisonous. That doesn't mean that some mushrooms are not poisonous, but psilocybin mushrooms, the magic mushrooms as we know it, are not poisonous. And from what I know, you can't overdose on them. That doesn't mean you couldn't have like a crazy experience, but you can't overdose. Thanks, Tiger. Appreciate that. Pedro 98. No, you're not late. Come join us. You're not late. You can watch whatever you missed. You can watch it on the replay because this will be up on my channel, the replay. We're at about, Pedro, we're at about 1 hour and 17 minutes in, and we'll be closing really, really soon. But again, it means a lot to me that you are here, even if you didn't come in at the beginning. People come and go, and I do not take that as an insult. People have lives, and very few people can stay on for an hour and 18 minutes. Very, very few people can have the time to. But if you come in and out and ask a question that gets answered, then you have to leave. That's totally cool, because again, the whole thing is always going to be available as a replay on my channel for sure. Let's see. You couldn't physically eat enough magic mushrooms to OD. That's what I understand too. That's what I've heard as well. You guys are great. Love you all. Let's go ahead and let's do this at the very end of this. I want everybody, we're going to do it for about 30 seconds. How's that? I think it's going to really help your evening. 30 seconds. Let's go ahead and close our eyes. Breathe slowly in and out through your nose. Try to clear your mind of thoughts. Together. Don't hold your breath. You got to breathe. I know you're holding your breath. I can feel it. Breathe through your nose slowly. Guys, Ladies and gentlemen, I really, really, really appreciate every single one of you being here. Feel free to watch the replay. Trip, my friend, Trip Maxwell, better known as Chop Wood, Carry Water, Practical Spirituality on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Trip, thank you so much for being here and helping with so many viewers that I couldn't either get to, or maybe I didn't know the answer to, because I can only answer one question at a time. And when I'm talking, I notice people were asking Trip other things, which is great. So Trip, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. Let's do another video together really soon. Everybody have a really great evening, great day tomorrow, great weekend, great May, great June, great 2022. Let's just hope for the best. This world is so, if I may say, so fucking crazy. It just seems like it's getting crazier and crazier every day, every week. It's just getting weirder. But through our positive energy, I pray that we can help make a positive impact on this world in some way. Thanks so much for being with me, guys. I really do love you all. Thanks a million. I'll talk to you soon. Stick with me. We're doing this together.